All right, let's talk about JavaScript's internal object wrapper function, which actually runs every time you do an assignment like this, whether to a primitive value or not. Let's talk about how it deals with primitives first. So on line 10, I did what we always do. This is called creating a string literal, right? A variable equals a string. But underneath the hood, this is what JavaScript does. Okay? And you can also create a string directly like this as well. So what is the difference? Let's go to the right. On string literals, if you do type of str1, you get string. If you do type of str2, you get object. But why is that? These should be the same. Well, technically it is, right? Because if you do str2 dot value of, you get the real string, right? So if you do type of, you will get string. Now, the cool thing about wrapping your primitives in an object wrapper is that one, you can still do string concatenation, str2 plus str1. But why is this possible? Because technically this is an object. Well, it's possible because whenever you create a primitive type, always it comes with dot value of. Okay, actually for every type it comes with value of, but it's only called for primitives. So it's actually doing str2 dot value of plus str dot value of, and that's how we got two highs. Okay, now if we create our own string object like this, what's cool is that we can add a method to it, right? So we can do, hey, str2 dot, let's just call this vowels, is going to be equal to this function right here. Okay, so now str2, the value is high, right? If we do vowels, we're going to get, there's one vowel in high. If I change this to more vowels and we do it again, now we get 6 vowels, right? So it can now have methods, and you can still use it in string concatenation. Now, but why is it that for str1, you cannot have your own methods or properties? Even though it gives you no error, it's undefined when you try to access it. Well, that's because when you create string literals, JavaScript still wraps it in an object wrapper, but it prevents you from adding or deleting some properties. Okay, so that's why even str1, if you do dot, there's all of these things, right? And that is because it's being wrapped internally by this little object wrapper right here. Okay, so once again, if you assign a variable to a primitive value like string, number, or even symbols, right? It's technically wrapped in an object wrapper, but prevents you from adding or removing properties. Okay, and whenever you use it in calculations or do type of or something like that, it calls the universal dot value of method, which will then return the true value type of that object wrapper. Cool. Now, what if instead of all of this, we have something that is not a primitive? So const ARR is equal to 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, when you declare this, normally it's also being wrapped, right? Because arrays are just special types of objects anyways. Okay, now, does this make it an object and not a true array anymore? No, this is still actually a true array. If you do array.isArray and you pass in ARR, it will still be true. So that means it has access to all of the true arrays methods, ARR.map. Let's just double all the values. And then we can see that it's double. Okay. So once again, if you assign non-primitive values, they keep that same type. Same with function, just a blank function like this. Okay. On the right, if I do type of ARR, I still get function because it is not a primitive. Now, ES6, we have something called a symbol. So on the right, if I do const sim is equal to new symbol and I'll just call this whatever, it's just a label. You see that we cannot call symbol with the new keyword. So this is kind of telling us, hey, this is special and it's not wrapped in an object wrapper. But what if we do sim dot, right? Can we do, let's create const sim again is symbol now without the new keyword. Okay, so without the new keyword, we created it. So now can we do type of symbol? We get symbol. Since it's a primitive, can we do simple.number is equal to 1? Seems like it works, but when you access it, it's still undefined. But you can do symbol dot constructor and toString and all this stuff. So yes, underneath the hood, it is still wrapped in an object wrapper. On the left here, if I do const new symbol is equal to object, and it's going to wrap the symbol. On the right, new symbol, right, dot hello will be equal to hi. And then if we call it, it still works, right? If we do type of new symbol, we get object. How do we get the true type of primitives? Dot value of. You will get symbol, okay? So once again, if you create a primitive type, it gets wrapped in the wrapper. So you can use things like .toString, .constructor, but it prevents you from adding any properties or methods or removing, right? When you create something that's not a primitive, it still gets wrapped, but the value of does not get called, but it's still there. All right, I hope that was useful. And that's why people say everything in JavaScript is an object, but that's really not true. Primitives are just wrapped in object wrappers.